Hey, in this video, we're going to talk about the best strategies on where your team gets involved. How soon do they call the leads? How often do they call? Do they leave a voicemail? When do they leave a voicemail? What do they say on the voicemail? When do they call back? These are all questions that a lot of our clients have. And this is a case study that we did with one of our clients, and we've blocked out the names just to protect anonymity. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the best strategies on how to engage those leads. Because let's remember, the leads were not looking for you. They got triggered by the interest that was created by the ad. And some of them are not completely motivated to actually get in and take care of their health problem. So, this is where we need to get engaged to create a relationship, to contact them, create some rapport and create some trust so that that lead feels comfortable enough to say, yes, I'm willing to come in for an appointment with the doc. So enjoy this case study. Hopefully, it gives you some answers as to how your team should be involved to get the best results. And let me just say one other thing is that the more that your team can follow these strategies and adhere to them, the better results you're going to have, which can translate into literally thousands of dollars. And you'll see we talk about this during this case study, thousands of dollars for the amount that you're spending on your marketing compared to the return on your investment. The more leads that you can engage, the more patients that come in, the more conversions you have, the more money that you have coming into your clinic. So enjoy the video. Okay, cool. Well, first of all, hi, everybody. Nice to see you guys. So I had a nice conversation with Dr. on last week. I can't remember Saturday. I think it was Saturday morning. And we just talked about, I just want to make sure that you guys are getting the best results. And a few things I just wanted to address with regard to your account. And I want to compare what some of our other clients are doing who are getting fantastic results and just share that with you guys to maybe see if you guys are doing the same things or if there's something that could be done differently to get some better results for you as well. So the first thing that we talked about was the fact that even in the last 6 months, Facebook and Instagram have changed significantly. And there's a huge increase in ad costs on Facebook and Instagram. So the problem that that brings to us and what that means to you guys is that if you were doing, let's say, $1,500 a month in ad spend a year ago and getting a certain result, well, now that same amount of money doesn't go as far. So, in other words, your ads are not being shown to the same number of people. So, the same amount of ad spend is getting less leads than it did a year ago for the same offers and the same ads and everything else. So, that's one thing we have to consider. So, I went through your account just before the meeting. And so, as of right now, so we're at the 30th day of the month, there have been 44 leads in April. Okay. So 44 leads have responded to the ads in April. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that there's 44 people that have expressed interest. So, some of them have actively been engaged and involved and responded to the ad, responded to the automated messages, maybe booked an online appointment. Some of them you've gotten in touch with, and others are just lost leads. But I wanted to go over some of the procedures that tend to work really well to engage leads and get them involved. Okay. So just so you know what's happening. So the first thing that happens when somebody responds to an ad is you guys obviously get an internal notification saying Joe Smith has responded to the ad. So he's expressed interest. So he's given his name, email, phone number. So Joe gets an automated message. And actually, the first automated message he gets is a voicemail drop. So we have a voicemail drop that's been programmed. And the voicemail drop says, hey, this is a courtesy call from the office of Dr. Thanks for responding to our post on Facebook. I'm sorry to hear that you're having health problems. We want to help you out in the best way possible. Here's our phone number. What we suggest is give us a call, talk to us about your problem, and we'll go ahead and book an appointment for you. So they get that voicemail drop. So the way that it works, their phone doesn't ring, but they just see that they've got a voicemail and then they hear that voicemail message. Okay. So they can choose to call you right away. Then they also get text messages within the first couple of minutes. And the text message basically, so a couple things. The text message includes the video doctor's report from, so it's like an urgent call to action. So it's, hey, I'm Dr. This is what we do here at Chiropractic. Um, I encourage you to go ahead and book the link and book an appointment. Don't leave this because your pain is coming from an underlying problem. So it's about his 3-minute video that he recorded. That's his video doctor's report. Okay. So they get that link in the text and email. Along with that, they get a link to the calendar. Okay. So some of them will go ahead and book a call. So by the time that they've got those, the first few minutes, hopefully, if they're actively involved, they've either called your office or they've booked a link automatically. And then, of course, as you guys know, then the automated messages over the next few days continue to give them prompts to say, okay, we haven't booked an appointment yet, so let's go ahead and book an appointment, until finally, after about 4 or 5 days, it fizzles out. It stops. And here's the thing, and I say this to every office: if you're only relying on the automated messages, you're going to have very, very weak results. Like, you're not going to have a lot of people engaged or showing up in the office. There has to be some active communication from the office, because the goal is you want to try to create rapport and create trust as soon as possible. Okay. So if I can just share with you what's working, and this is something we did in our office, it worked really well. This is something that most of our clients use that typically works really well. The goal is to make the first call within 30 minutes. So in other words, when the lead comes in, you guys get the notification. So whoever's in charge of making that call, and I would say you guys make sure you have a plan of who's like holding the baton. Whoever gets that lead, I'm in charge of making the call, right? So don't assume somebody else is doing it. Make sure you know who's responsible for receiving the lead and making the call. So ideally, most offices that are getting good results would make the call within 10 minutes. So if you think about this, and I just want to kind of explain this, is that the patient can be bombarded, right? So they're getting a voicemail drop, they're getting emails, text messages, and then a phone call from the office. But the thing is, we want to give them every opportunity to get in. They've expressed an interest. They've expressed the fact that they're having some health concern. We want to go with this level of aggressive compassion to reach out and grab their hand and say, we're here to help you out. Let's make the next step. Let's make it happen, right? So that's kind of the mentality we have. So I would say, and I say this to every office, don't ever feel like you're pestering them. They reached out to you, right? So just help them follow through with that. Because a lot of people are fearful or anxious or concerned, they have anxiety. Some of them are fearful to take the next step. Okay. All right. So far, so good?
Yes.
So here's what I would suggest that you guys do. And you tell me if this is something that you're doing already. I mean, great. But I'm going to say, for some reason, the throughput that you're getting, so the number of people that are actually showing up in your office, are way less of a percentage than most of our other clients, especially those that are getting good results. So something is disconnected. Something's not working here. And I'm not saying that to lay blame or say you guys are you guys have an incredibly great team. I know that. So please understand. I'm just trying to figure out where's the constraint here. Okay. So this is typically the system that works, is that the person in charge. So let's say sees that lead come in, and as soon as you get an opportunity within the first 30 minutes, you call. If it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, you call that person. And the first phone call goes through. If you get a voicemail, you immediately hang up. You do not leave a voicemail. And you call right back. Like, you hang up, call again. So it's like a double call back to back. And again, the theory is that people screen their calls. They see an unknown number. They think it's spam. They don't answer it. So, but if you call back again, they see the same number. Okay, it must be not a spam thing. I'll answer it, right? So typically on the second call, you're going to get people picking up. If you leave a voicemail, right? So remember, this is a few minutes after they've responded. So if you happen to leave a voicemail, I would actively say, hey, I saw that you just responded to our Facebook ad just a few minutes ago. I wanted to reach out as soon as possible to talk to you personally and find out what's going on with your health. Right. So that's the main, not I'm phoning to make an appointment for you. I'm finding out what's going on with your health. And that should be the first response. So, and then you carry on with the voicemail and say, please call me back at this number. I will expect to hear from you. But if for some reason I don't hear from you, I will call you back at such and such a time. So if this call happened at 9 a.m. and you know you have a break at 12 or 12:30, then you say to that person on the voicemail, I'm going to call you back at 12:30, but call me before then. Okay. So the person knows when they hear the voicemail, okay, they're going to call me back. So then the next thing is that then you would call back, do the same thing at 12 or 12:30, whatever time you've told them. So now this is now your third call, right? Already today, and it's already like midday. So third call, you do the same thing and say, okay, hey, I left a message this morning. Hopefully you're getting in touch with them, but I left a message this morning. Obviously, you're having some health concerns. I'd love to talk to you about that and see if it's a good fit for Dr. to look after you. Call me back. Here's my number. If I don't hear from you by 5 p.m. today or whatever, 6 p.m., 7, whatever time you decide to make your next calls or at the end of the day, if I don't hear from you by 5 p.m., I will call you back again. So you're actively pursuing this person, right? And the person hears the voicemail and goes, "Oh, holy smokes, like they're really like they're being very aggressive." But it is. It's an aggressive compassion. But it works. It works. So, and the thing is here is that my stance on this is that you want them to commit one way or the other. So they're either going to say, yes, okay, I want to make an appointment, or leave me alone. Like, so better off that than them just dwindling and you never know, right? If so, they say, hey, listen, I changed my mind. Stop calling me, stop texting me, whatever. Fine, good. Get them out of the funnel, like get them out of your system. But again, you want to get them from off the fence. So then you call at 5 p.m. So and we have a few staff members, and I had a staff member that would actually take that list of leads home because, again, we tried to make this purposeful to say, hey, we're here to change lives. I want people to have the opportunity to have their life change, get them out of the medical system. So she said, I'm in, I'll take the leads home, and I will call them at 9 o'clock at night. So she'd go home, have dinner, get the kids to bed, whatever, and she'd make 3, 4, 5 phone calls, whatever, to those leads that she didn't get in touch with. She said that was the best time. That's the that's the time that everybody seems to be at home. They're watching television, whatever. It's the best time to talk to them. And if they get a call from the doctor's office at 9 p.m. at night, they know it's pretty serious. Like, so that's the first day. And I'm going to say most clients that are doing that are getting really good responses on the first day. Like they're getting more than 50% to 70% of those leads to at least engage, right? So ideally, we like to have the metric of if you're getting 44 leads in the month, you should have around 22 appointments. And maybe you might get a couple of no-shows because you guys aren't doing prepays. So, but I would say 18 of those 22 probably should be showing up in your office. So ideally, there should be 18 new patients in, right, with 44 leads. That would be a pretty good statistic. So, and then, so then that's the first day. The second day, typically offices would make 2 to 3 calls in the same pattern as the first day. So call in the morning, leave the voicemail. Hey, I called you yesterday a few times, left voicemails. I haven't heard from you. Here's my number. I'm going to give you a couple more chances. If I don't hear from you by noon, I'm going to call again, and then maybe one more time at the end of the day, and then just drop it. Right? They've obviously not responded. Keep in mind, they're still getting the automated messages at the same time. So we're trying to get them from all angles and give them every opportunity to engage and get involved. Okay. Now, so does that sound like something that's maybe a little more aggressive than what you're doing?
I just said it's definitely more aggressive than what we're doing.
Yeah, it is aggressive. Like
it's way more
it
aggressive.
absolutely, yeah, it absolutely is. But I'm telling you, like it works. And so and I'll be very candid with you here, and maybe I'm not going to like that I tell you this, but so I sat with my one staff member, and so we had one staff member in charge of everything. So there was nothing missed, and it was not like, oh well, I'm not here this day, so do it, or I'm not here this day, so going to do it. It was one staff member, and she would actually take the leads and check them on even on her day off. But we incentivized her, and so she gained a bonus for all of the new patients from social media marketing that she got in the office. So I mean, maybe you guys talked about that. One person takes it on, and there's some, but it's worth it. If you could have another 3, 4, or 5 new patients in, man, that's way worth it as a result of that. So, but she was great at it. So those are the systems, and so some offices that are getting great results are doing that. Now, here's another strategy. So then, who's in our group, and she used to be with Dr. Her and her team, they actually, what they do is they say when the person books their appointment, if they book online, the appointment is not confirmed until they actually talk to somebody. And the team reaches out again, same sort of strategy. Team reaches out, but they have to have verbal contact with that person, and they get prepayment. right? So they're only doing a $37 offer, but it doesn't matter. They still get prepayment, and it's very scripted to say that we're going to reserve this time for you. To reserve this time, we're just going to take the prepayment. Normally, the cost of the exam is $250. You're only paying $75. So we'll just, and you could either take the prepayment or just to keep a credit card on file just to reserve that time. And we'll only bill a credit card if for some reason you don't show up and you give us a no-show. We have to bill your credit card because we've reserved this time. And then we'll just apply the payment to the credit card when you're here. So you could do it that way, but then you eliminate no-shows. Okay, so and they get like 98% show rate on their new patients. Okay, so yeah, so now you're laughing, going, I'm not doing that.
No.
Okay, does that I don't like you guys tell me, is that helpful or is that like, are you guys sitting there going like that ain't happening?
It's helpful, but the problem is like in my shifts, a lot of times I'm the only CA that's here. So when a lead comes in while I'm in the middle of shift, I can't go on to a new patient phone call when I could be needed for anything else.
Yeah.
So that's what I find is like, because I noticed even with the way the process is, it will call us and say you have a new lead, and I didn't even realize, but it literally wants us to push one, so then it will call that lead directly. But like I'm in the middle of shift, I can't necessarily take that call when I'm the only person here.
Yeah, that's if somebody calls the number that's in the software, like the number they get the text message, if they call that number, that's what it's going to do. It's going to tell you, hey, you have a new lead. You press a number and it'll connect the call. Yeah, so I would say, like for you guys, my suggestion would be to work out a system that one person takes charge of those leads. And whether you talk to Dr. like say, okay, if I'm going to spend an hour a day when I'm off, or if I'm going to spend, maybe a part-time hour or something like that doing that. But I really think that there needs to be somebody in charge of that so you can have that active communication, because it's going to be worth, like from a monetary standpoint, thousands of dollars to the clinic to just have that extra person being totally engaged in connecting with those leads to get those few extra new patients in the door. Like that's, over the month, that's a few extra new patients and literally thousands of dollars. You convert one or two or three more of them. Wow. It's well worth it. Anyway, I hope that helps you guys. I'm not trying to make it tough on your life, but I want this to be successful for you guys. Like Facebook it's not an easy game. Like I wish it was when it first started, it was easy, but now we really have to put an effort in to stand out and really connect with those people, because there's so many scams and like spam stuff on Facebook. You really have to reach out and make that trust and connection rapport with the person to get the commitment and get them to follow through. So the more aggressive that you can be, the better success you're going to have. Okay.
Yeah, we'll
Yes.
see.
All right. Take the rest of the day off. Okay.
Tell that to Dr. Brian.
I will send you this recording. Okay. And let me, if there's anything I can do to facilitate or help, let me know. I'm happy to do whatever I need to do to help you guys out. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right.
Oh, wait, before you go, I have a question.
Sure.
So with the process that you were saying within like calling 3 times in a day, do they still do the second call and the third call? Or no?
Sorry, I didn't understand. Say it again.
Because before we do first call and then the second call the next day and then the third call the next day, right? But with the process that you shared to us today where they're calling 3 times within the day, do they still do a follow-up call the next day?
Yes.
Yeah. So as I was saying, so the lead comes. So let's say today is Wednesday, right? So if a lead came in this morning,
so first lead,
I would do the double call, like the back-to-back call first.
yes.
And if I only got voicemails, so I'd leave a voicemail on the second call. I would do the third call a couple hours later. I would do the fourth call a few hours later, and potentially even the fifth call tonight when I go home. Okay. So there's potentially 5 calls the first day, and then 2 to 3 calls the next day. If you're not getting response from them by the end of the second day, I think they're disengaged, and they're still going to get automated messages. But if they're not responding to all those phone calls, then I just move on.
Okay.
But the sooner you can make contact with them, the better. Because if you're waiting to the second, third, fourth day, honestly, I think it's kind of a lost lead at that point. Okay, you got to get them while they're hot.